It's been reported that Manchester United are in advanced talks with Pau Torres from Villarreal. Erik Ten Hag is expected to go into the transfer market and look for centre-backs. Timber of Ajax is heavily linked with Manchester United, and we have a full update on that as well. But could United be lining up a backup in case the Timber deal doesn't go through? Could it be a case of, with Eric Bailly leaving, big question marks over Harry Maguire? Could there be a situation where Manchester United go into the market and sign two centre-backs over the course of this summer transfer window? We're going to delve into it in a lot more detail on the Done Deal show this morning. Smash that like button. Leave your comments below. Let's do this. Good morning and welcome back to the show, everybody. Interesting developments last night around Manchester United's pursuit of a centre-back this summer. I wanted to go through the story, give you my take, and of course, listen to your opinions on it as well. We will go to your live comments as we can see them coming through already. Star-Lord and a number of our members are already here. Good morning to everybody that is tuning in. But let's go to the origins of the story yesterday's side of things. So one of the first bits of information that was put out here via Master is that Man United are willing to pay 50 million euros to sign Pau Torres. Erik Ten Hag would like a ball-playing centre-back and wants Torres at all costs. United are the team pushing the strongest to get him. And that came out that was late afternoon, early evening yesterday. Then as the evening went on, Pau Torres' agents plan to travel to Manchester this week to negotiate with Manchester United over a potential contract for Pau Torres. Now, what's really interesting is even some of the comments that have come through in the live chat today talking about how much the player may or may not cost. People are alluding to 100 million odd pounds. Well, what's intriguing is the story continued to say that Villarreal will not ask for Pau Torres' 65 million euro release clause to be paid, as they don't want to break negotiations over a 10 to 15 million euro difference. So the reports are very much suggesting at this moment in time that Man United could pick the player up for as little as 50 million euros, around 40 million English pounds. Now, what I want to reiterate is that there are a number of outlets out there. You know, Mark Goldbridge and his team have kind of stated that nothing is advanced. It isn't in. For me, if agents are about to fly over to finalize a deal is advanced. There are contrary claims saying things aren't as far along as that. Timber is the number one guy. And a gentleman called Sam, who obviously works for Goldbridge and that sport, has put out here and said that sources close to Pau Torres late last night declined to comment when asked about reports stating that talks are advancing between Man United and his camp. He went on to say, meanwhile, this is via Alex Turk, who is I think he's a journalistic researcher, who says that Man United are expected to formalize a concrete offer for Ajax's Timber. So look, it's really picking up pace, and we always knew this was going to be a very, very busy transfer window. There was no doubt about it. But what's really intriguing is how fast a number of clubs are acting. And I think from my standpoint, as a Man United fan, I want to see things moved along quickly. I'm going to kind of say true to my word, though, at the beginning of the summer, beginning of the sort of appointment of Erik Ten Hag, that I may have an opinion. So Pau Torres is a player I've watched maybe 10 times live. I've read a lot about him. I'm not convinced. I don't think, personally, he isn't the player that I would go out of my way to personally sign, is what I'm saying. However, I'm going to stay relaxed on it. If that's a player that the club and Erik Ten Hag want, I'm going to remain reserved. I'm conscious and cautious of it because it isn't a player that I have an affinity with. I've watched and gone, wow, he looks an absolute player. However, I'm going to remain very level-headed. That's going to be my mantra on this all year, based on the fact that we haven't got it right at this club for so long. So I'm not going to overtly judge what the new guy coming in is looking to do. FZ City here says both will cost around 100 million euros. That's using a lot of your budget. I think you've not got to read too much into the budget. If I'm being honest with you, the budget thing, everywhere you read, it says something. I've seen anything from 80 to 150 million plus players that are leaving. Let's see what happens. This very much could be, though. I'll tell you how this reads to me. I don't know if Man United are working on both. You may think they are. I personally feel as though this is both deals may be being worked on. Both deals could be advanced. Man United might be looking to get a centre-back signing over the line very, very quickly. I'm not too sure if Man United are going to sign both, though. That would be my point in and around this. But I want your take on it. Your opinions are more important than mine when it comes to this. OSA says it's going to be an exciting transfer window. Absolutely. I think it's going to be a huge transfer window. I think it really is going to be a big transfer window, without a shadow of a doubt, in my opinion. There's so much going on. There's so much being discussed. There's so many kind of options out there. So many things kind of just bubbling away for many, many clubs. And you can't move on social media for news. I think Timber has the potential to be an excellent CDM. He's a good tackler, quick, can read the game well at his age, comfortable on the ball, and the size. And size will be less of an issue. I'm not going to proclaim to have, again, an encyclopedic knowledge on him as an individual. I don't know enough about him, if I'm being completely and utterly honest. I just simply don't. My take would just be, I'm going to remain relaxed about it. Like I said before, I'm going to remain really relaxed and kind of sort of not sit on the fence. Say sitting on the fence would be, I don't sit on the fence, but I don't know about moving a player. I can't. What are the examples of that? Can you guys find me some examples of young, very talented centre backs that become top class CDMs? Is there any examples of it? That would be my question. Like, is there a precedent for it within football? Maybe not. Maybe I'm completely off the boil here. Did you see Luckhurst, Ogden, and Whitwell's articles regarding the squad dysfunction? Of course we did. And why am I not surprised to see articles about squad dysfunctionality now, today, at this moment? Why am I not surprised? I'll tell you why I'm not surprised. Because it was always going to come out now. The players are doing everything in their power to protect themselves. They didn't want to work for Ralph. Listen, I don't even care if there's question marks over Ralph about, well, why did we point him? He isn't of this high standard of manager. It was the wrong appointment. I don't care. I don't care. Do you know why? Because you have a conscious choice whether you work hard for that person or not. You know, I've had bosses in my life who I thought were wrong for the job, who I didn't think treated people in the team well, who I thought knew less than everybody in the room, but I still delivered at my job. I didn't down tools. Imagine this is a notion. I'm going to take it back to my early stages of banking because the example will resonate with the majority of you. Let's say I'm talking branch level retail banking. Imagine me and my colleagues don't think our manager is very good. Does that give us the right to mistreat you as customers? Like when you go to the teller, I can have £100 out of my bank account. They only give you 80. When someone says they're going to pay your bill for you over the counter, they do it wrong and mess up. The members of staff just have a get out of jail free card because they don't like their manager. No, not for a second. And that's my point when it comes to these players. There's nothing I've read where I go, I can understand why they didn't want to play hard, because that's what this comes down to. And then what happens is the infighting begins. Oh, well, he's getting picked and he should be. I don't like him. All I'm seeing is a bunch of babies pointing the finger at their teammates and managers saying, it wasn't me. Nobody taking ownership. And that's the biggest issue. And fans are hugely responsible for this, because what we do, if you read the comments and we're like, right, what player can I attribute that to? Well, I'm going to say that's Bruno. I'm going to say that's Pogba. I'm going to say that's Maguire. I'm going to say that's De Gea. When in reality, we don't really know. Listen, as I said before, toxic dressing room created by the Glazers allowing player power to come to fruition. We should be rejecting every story, supporting the new management and pushing for player power to be eradicated, because until it does, nobody will be successful at Manchester United. Simple as that. And I've been right about it for 9 years. No one else has been. Everybody else has been blaming managers and blaming players. And every time we switch them out and bring new ones in, we fail again. So until people listen to not me personally, but to what I'm saying in terms of the actual problem at the club, nothing will improve. So am I surprised to see it? No. Predicted it last week, it would happen. And like clockwork, Monday, Tuesday, all the stories come out just as I said they would. Because it's the same thing every time. Same thing every time. Terry Timber has played a lot at right back at Ajax. He suits that role in Ten Hag's system. Well, that's another great point, Harrison. When you look at these deals, maybe that's what's going on here. Maybe that's what's at play. Maybe, just maybe, the idea here is, well, we'll play Timber. Timber's going to be our right back, and Pau Torres is going to be one of our new centre backs. We know that the club are going to move AWB on, as an example. It's rumoured United are going to get around 20 to 25 million pounds for him. If we're going to use basic arbitrary net spend, that's half the money. But interestingly, we won't, because Pau Torres, if it's a buyout clause, that money will generally, buyout clauses have to be paid up front. But the Timber deal, that's going to be paid in installments. But when you sell a player, it appears on your account. So, i.e. net spend, is the money being received straight away. So if you sell AWB for 25 million and buy Timber for 30, but Timber's deal is paid over a 5-year period, officially on your weird net spend calculators that people use, we're going to be in the profits year one on that, as an example. Not that that's how it works, but I'll put it in the terms and majorities. My guy Ty here says, morning, Terry. I've seen the light on Rashford, and after some digging, he is definitely one of the most toxic players. He needs to go. Well, that's an interesting take. You think that he's toxic. I would love you to expand on that for us this morning, Ty. I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on why you think he is toxic. ITM here says, Terry, isn't Pau Torres coming to Chelsea? Potentially. And listen, I've seen these stories before where a player's linked to one club in England and his representatives arrive and he ends up somewhere else. There we go. They lack the professionalism and work ethic you have, Terry. Always. And look, when I was younger, I wasn't always like that, but I read something once and it just resonated with me. And I don't remember it word for word, but a paraphrase. It basically said the only thing in life you can control is your attitude. You can't control how people treat you, what people are going to say, what's going to happen today. We can't control it. Just your reaction, just your attitude. And it resonated hard with me. And I made a lot of changes in my life a few years ago where I used to get, I spoke about this from a footballing context. I used to worry, what's this content creator doing? What's this guy said? What's he up to? What's she doing? What's going on there? And I spent a lot of time doing that. And I'll be honest with you, it held me back in my life. As soon as I went, I'm letting go of all of that and focusing on my attitude and my work ethic, the change in my life has been astronomical. And it isn't luck. Like, I feel lucky, but it isn't luck. It's just perseverance and not wasting time. Like, legitimately not wasting time. And I was wasting hours and hours and hours a day focusing on what other people were thinking, feeling, saying, doing, and not myself. And I think a lot of these Man United players are very guilty of that. I would love to see Ten Hag training this lot, Harry Maguire, AWB, etc. Bet he'd lose it. Yeah, I don't necessarily think he would lose it, but I get the angle you're coming from, David. I think he would be shocked by some of it, no doubt about it at all. Do me a favor this morning, people, and get that like button smashed, please. Let's get this past. There's 400 odd people watching, which is lovely this early in the morning, but give the like button a smash right about now, my friends. Harrison here says, Bailly has been linked strongly with Villarreal. Maybe we can get 10 millions for him. Well, this is where giving some of these players new deals could help Manchester United, because there is an element of value in them now. But that's exactly it. If you could get 10 to 15 million for him, and generally swap deals don't happen. They're stereotypically independent transactions of one another. But from an income versus outgoing ratio, you can recoup some of that money, no doubt. Let's have a look. Ten Hag is the one, is what Dizzy has got to say here. Terry, when am I going to swim in my swimming pool? I don't know. When it's warm, or the kids down out in the garden making noise. So normally when it's warm, the kids are outside playing. So it's not hard to do. Terry fits the hints of what Luckhurst is saying. Makes complete sense. I know that people say that, but what I'll say is when Luckhurst hinted at who the players were that were fighting each other the other day, everybody assumed there was an English guy involved. And now the reports are coming out saying it was Alex Telles and Hannibal. So everybody assumed that it was either a Rashford or a Maguire in that argument, and it turned out to be Hannibal and Alex Telles. So I'm not. I only go on what I see. So when I did videos a few months back on Rashford leaking stuff from the club, I was talking about him literally leaking about his training methods and what he was doing and what he was up to and how it wasn't him that was misbehaving. That's a leak. You know it's about him. When I hear one player who was unhappy with the manager said that he hates another player who I saw a story this morning that they're referring to a player as being like an American NFL punter, and people are instantly saying, oh, they're all talking about Bruno Fernandes. And I'm like, they're not talking Bruno Fernandes. Yes, he does lose possession and sometimes he plays long balls that don't go anywhere. They're probably talking about David De Gea's distribution. Maybe. They could be talking about Scott McTominay's passing range. I'm just saying, we don't know. Like, we don't know. But Rashford could certainly be one of those people. I'm not saying he isn't. I just think we generally all draw our conclusions, and it's normally a player we don't like that we think's the leak, you know. A bit of a recap for everybody this morning on the Pau Torres news. It is stated that the agents of Pau Torres could be travelling to Manchester to negotiate with United over the potential contract of Pau Torres. It's reported that Villarreal will not ask for the full 65 million euro release clause and will settle for somewhere in the region of 50 to 55 million pounds. There are contrary reports this morning, though, that Man United are not in any advanced situation with Pau Torres. More than likely to be Timber that's on his way into the club. But as ever, I want your thoughts and I want your feelings today. A lot of people talking about PSG. PSG this morning, interestingly, look like they're going to do a U-turn after already informing Poch they were going to get rid of him back in February. You know, you're gone. Irrespective of results, you're out of here. They've been rejected by Zinedine Zidane, and it looks like Kylian Mbappe has made a play to say, I want Poch to stay. So it now looks like the hierarchy of PSG are going to change their minds. I do think it's a dangerous precedent, though, to let players decide these things. But there we go. If they've done a U-turn, they've done a U-turn. They've re-employed him, essentially. But there we go. I'm going to share a link this morning so you guys can phone in and have your say if you want to speak. We're talking Pau Torres. We're talking Timber. That's what we're chatting about. So if you're going to phone up and you want to talk about something complete, if you want to speak about something else, come with something potent. Come with an opinion. But if you want to phone in, I'm putting the link in the live comment section right now. We had a few days without doing call-ins because of other commitments. So very happy to speak to you all today. We've also got Ben Jacob on the Football Terrace later today talking. That's why I'm not talking about other teams this morning, because Ben Jacob's coming on. We're going to be talking what we're going through. We spoke yesterday, me and Ben, just to give you an idea. That's coming this afternoon. But we're going to be speaking about Yuri Tillemans to Arsenal, Man United under Ten Hag. We're talking Newcastle's transfers. We're looking at Chelsea's takeover and players. And there is a connection between Neymar and Chelsea we're going to be speaking about. We're going to be looking at Lewandowski, Origi, and Darwin Núñez, plus a few more. And he's got some insight on the Mbappe situation as well. So Ben Jacob on the Football Terrace later today. Make sure you are tuning in. Let's have a look at some more. Morning to you, Roger. I hope you're well, my friend. I'm very good. In Folkestone in Kent. Big up for yourself. Alex Tuanzebe played just 4 games for Napoli. He was injured the whole time. Really, listen, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at all. It's like Eric Bay at Man United. The only time Eric Bay stays fit is when he isn't playing. That's what's crazy about it. Oh, Terry, you said he had injury problems, but he was not injured for 3 months and didn't play. Yeah, because every time he runs, something goes. I remember at some point when Ollie was getting criticism for not playing Tawanzabi and Bayi. And up until that point, I don't know, Ollie had been at the club like 600 days or something. And for like 480 of those days, the two of them were injured. And they were like, why don't they play more? That's when agendas run deep. That's when they're running deep. Very, very deep. Rel Salavanti on Twitter has said that word from Manchester is that Timber is likely to become Ten Hag's first signing. I wouldn't be surprised, Harrison. That's who I think it might be, if I'm being absolutely honest. That's my view. My view is it'd be him. Timber over Pau Torres. That's just my take. Obviously, I'm reporting the news. I know what people in the comments were like, oh, Kerry said it was advanced. No, I didn't. I've shown you the tweets and the journalists that said it was. My view is I don't necessarily think it is. Could be both. Could be a backup. Maybe Ten Hag's got different plans for both, but we will see. Tuanzebe Bay, Martial injury prone like crazy. Our medical department is crap. Yeah, potentially could just be that. We'll see what happens. It's whether or not. Yeah, Man United have had issues there. You even look at Marcus Rashford. Like, players play with injuries and other problems. I don't even think it was playing with injuries. It was the issue with Rashford and Bruno and these guys. They were overused. There wasn't enough rotation. The Premier League football is fast, furious, and grueling. The lack of rotation is what burnt those players out. Partly is what burnt those players out as well. No doubt about that in my mind whatsoever. I think it's all part and parcel. I'm feeling a Martial resurrection. Ty, listen, this is my view on any United. But I don't care what players deliver for Man United, which players he sells, which players ball out, which players flop. I don't want no one to flop. But what I mean by I don't care is I just want Man United to be good. I'm not having a go at you. I'm saying drop the player agendas and focus on eradicating. If fans put all their energy into eradicating player power and player FC, I'm telling you the club would improve. Because clubs do respond to what fans say. Clubs do respond to what fans think. So let's help eradicate the problem instead of perpetuating it. Because that's what we do. And we've all been guilty of it. Hope all is well, Tell. Exciting times ahead. Can't wait. Yeah, I'm a bit like you. I'm excited. But I'm remaining level-headed. And the one thing I'm fearful of is if we start the season well. And not starting the season well, I'm scared of. It's going to be the reaction. And you're going to have fans that are going to be, oh my God, you're going to do this. They're going to be goading Man United fans into over-predicting. Just everybody remain level-headed. No, listen, because most rivals are going to predict United coming 5th or 6th this year. Let them just keep that as the public expectation. I'm going to keep my counsel on it, and see what happens. Look, Man United could easily get back in the Champions League next year. They could, if the right signings come in and Ten Hag gets the players working hard, because this squad's good enough. They just stop working. So yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. I don't think we need Pau Torres, but Timber would be a great signing. But Erik Ten Hag needs to balance the team. Yeah, that's my view, my friend. It's why I'm very relaxed about what Ten Hag wants to do. Just from the standpoint of, I think he knows what he's doing. Therefore, I'm really relaxed about it. That's my view. David says maybe the medical department still use the old sponge and bucket and cold water. Yeah, maybe that's what they're doing. It's mad that used to be the medical department on Sunday League football. A sponge and cold water. There we go. Make or break is how the squad responds to Ten Hag. That's it. See, Brendan, I would go deeper. Make or break is how the club makes the squad respond. The club controls this. If Ten Hag turns up and within days, players go, "No, I don't like. He's too demanding. He doesn't speak nice to us when we're not working hard." If the club says, "Cool, we'll sell you," then you're gone. You're out. Do you know what? Erik wants to sit you in the stands because you're lazy. We're going to support it. If the club backs the manager, you eradicate it. It's not how the squad responds. It's how the board operate. Like the squad might not respond, but we could eradicate that behavior quickly with the right behaviors. It's so easy. When my children stomp their feet, so my son, I'll give you an example. And human beings are human beings. My son at the minute, when he gets dropped off at nursery, clings on. He's become very clingy and screams and shouts and doesn't want you to leave. Now, I could do the weak thing, the poor parenting, and go, oh, I'll sit here for hours with you and stroke your head. Oh, it's okay. You're not gonna go nursery today. Come home and sit with me all day and just hold him the whole time and make sure he doesn't cry. But that's going to create a problem further on down the line. He's not going to be able to distance himself. He's not going to be his own person. He's going to have behavioral issues and he could become a bad child. So what I have to do is, it pains me when I see him screaming, bright red in the face, tears coming down his face because he doesn't want me to leave. But he has to learn. It's on me. It's on his mum if he becomes a bad child through this. Tough love is such an important element of nurturing children. Equally, in a business environment or a sporting environment, tough love is needed. Yes, Erik ten Hag might turn around to Bruno Fernandes and say, your erratic nature at times is not going to cut it. Until that stops, you're not playing for my team. If Bruno then becomes a problem, becomes toxic, the club then have to. Erik ten Hag would be happy to get rid of him at that point. No manager wants a bad or toxic player. It's whether the board back it. If the board says no, what they're doing is keeping that crying child on their arm and enabling and enhancing that poor behavior. This is why I speak about this. It's so basic to fix our problems. We haven't got, when people go overhaul, it's not hard. It's not this huge, complicated project. Just be disciplined and tough. I'll give you another example in football. If referees showed red cards every time a player swears at them, within a week, swearing at refs would stop. It just would. But no, people aren't tough. It's mad. Anyway, I digress massively. Balak Diamond here says, I now truly believe Ralf Rangnick had no part in the recruitment of Erik ten Hag. They have different footballing philosophies. And when asked about Ralf Rangnick, Erik ten Hag says that it's on the club, but he will listen to everyone, but draw the line on final decisions. But that's very true. That's very true. I didn't read personally too much into it because he's going to listen to Erik, to Ralf, but he's going to make his own decisions. And that's important. That's what we need from a manager. So again, I don't necessarily look at that as being this huge problem that some people are kind of making it out to be. But that's just my take on it anyway, my people. That's just my take. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, Ads. I appreciate that. Ads here says, these players are good enough, just need the right mentality. You could be the most talented guy around, but if you lack the fight and heart, you won't succeed in life, just not football. Not just football. Mate, you're absolutely spot on. And we saw a thing yesterday about some of hopefully I liked it. Sometimes I don't remember to hit the like button on tweets that I see, and then I can't find them. I'm so old and stupid. But it made me laugh. It was kind of a list of issues at the club. Yeah, I don't think I did. I'm going to have to try and find it again. I don't know who posted it. It might have been on Instagram, actually. But it was a list of all that. No, it wasn't. It was Give Me Sport. My partners in crime. Let me read this out because this for me is key. This is really, really key. And I think for me stood out massively. Let me just find Give Me Sports page. Here it is. Yeah. So this is what was said. So these are the reports. So worst points tally in Premier League history, most goals conceded. So these are some of the player issues. It says Cristiano Ronaldo became to separate himself from teammates as fans chanted, "You're not fit to wear the shirt." Players described Ralf Rangnick's tactics as bad and they didn't give a shit about his advice. So just look at them two for a minute. Ronaldo segregating himself from his fellow teammates because he didn't want to be associated with them is bad on two fronts, from Ronaldo and their behavior. Players thinking that Ralph's tactics were bad and they didn't care about his advice. That should never be endorsed. It shouldn't matter whether you like Ralph's tactics. This is where fans play a part. Yeah, but I don't like Ralph's tactics either. So I'm going to back the player power on this one. Never back the player power. Once you let that wolf in your door, one day he's going to eat you. Players stopped celebrating even when scoring in wins. Mad. Players began to blame poor form on Maguire's struggles and said he got an easier ride than other players. Again, Maguire being crap doesn't mean Rashford can stop trying. This is why it don't make sense. Think about it logically. Like, if it just don't make sense. I'm going to stop working hard because I don't think Maguire should be playing. Well, now you're not playing well either. Weird. And it says Edison Cavani was fuming that he had to give his number 7 shirt up and fight for his place after signing an extension. Giving up a shirt number is why you cry. Again, we Man United fans created a precedent. Oh, Martial's shirt number. The shirt number shouldn't matter. And Cavani's openly admitting he didn't want to fight for his place. We can't have a football club where we don't fight for places. But again, Man United fans created that problem. Oh, we can't sign Haaland because of the development of Martial and Greenwood. Shut up. He's better than them both. We keep doing it. Oh, we can't sign another centre-back. What about Bay's development? What about Tuanzebe? If they're better, who cares? We have created a notion at the club where players don't have to work. What is this madness? Man United fans have become a big problem at this club. There's no doubt about it. There's none. Make sure that like button is being smashed. Make sure you're subscribing to the Football Terrace this morning, my people. Get that done. Early morning streams will be back over the course of the transfer window. Trust me, because there's so much to fit in during the day. I can't do like a couple of streams. I want to talk about more. We people still think those players are good. Do you know we need to overtake City with players like Gundogan as backup? He would be the best player in our squad. It's from Steph Brown there. Good point, Steph. Good point being raised there, my friend. Let's have a look at some more of your comments. Cavani came for the vibes. I think Cavani came in and wanted to be the main number 9. And then Ronaldo. Listen, I understand the Ronaldo. This is where when people said Ronaldo was a problem. Ronaldo is a problem. I don't think he, the individual, is the problem. It's the way people reacted to him because player power rules the roost at Man United. Players have a massive say, and they should have almost none. None. There are elements of business, elements of sport, elements of life where democracy is great. We want to hear your thoughts and feelings. We'll compromise in areas. And then you sometimes need an sort of autocratic approach. I am boss. My decision's final. You do as I say or you leave. That needs to return to football. It needs to return to football. City are doing it. Liverpool are doing it. But they do it from a club standpoint. Brighton do it. And I'm naming Brighton as a club. They're one of the best run clubs pound for pound. Newcastle started doing it. Look at the performances from some of the players. Now the standards at the club have been raised. We're going to get Lord Nelson on in a minute to have his say. Make sure like buttons are being smashed. Pau Torres to Man United. Some reporting it's advanced. Some saying it isn't. I want your thoughts. I want your feelings on this. There is also another report that's come out today via Alex Turk, who I want to tell you what he is. He works for the BBC. He works for the Stretford Paddock. He does social media and research for Statman Dave. He's a sports reporter at the Express as well. So he's a very versatile guy. Works for a number of outlets. Verified. Has said that Timber. He says that Timber is on. What is it that was said? I read it wrong. It's expected. Man United is expected to formalize a concrete offer for the player. That's what's being reported in relation to that. We've got Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool news later on today. We've got the brilliant Ben Jacob live on the Football Terrace. So please make sure you are tuning in. Pau Torres or Timber is closing in. The reports suggest both. The reports are suggesting both. Your job, along with mine, the same as all YouTubers, is to research all the stories and then formulate an opinion, basically. Lord Nelson's coming on. Ads is coming on as well to have his say. First up, Lord Nelson is here. Hit the like and share button, people. Let's do this. Welcome back to the show, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing, man?
I'm very well. What do you want to say?
Where do I start? I hope we can create a team because for the past since Fergie left, we never had a team. So we need to create like a team. We need a team because it's not just the player that wins the league. We scored 57 goals and conceded 57 goals. And some people will tell me that De Gea is the best goalkeeper in the league. Make it make sense, please. I don't understand. How can you concede 57 goals as a goalkeeper and your fan base think you're the best? That's crazy to me. Like, But well, we got fan base high. I don't know what to call that.
Yeah, yeah. No, I hear you completely. I hear you completely. The one good thing about this situation is it can only get better, really. Like Man United are, for a top team, we are rock bottom right now. In terms of these two signings, Pau Torres, Timber from Ajax, which of the two, if you could only pick one, would you go with?
Actually, I don't care about players anymore. What I care about is the team. I'm tired of the names. We got Ronaldo, Varane. Come on, man. What else do you need? Come on. I'm tired of names. I just need group of players that want to play for each other, that wants to fight for each other, that wants to win together. Because like the culture we've created for our team, I don't think we can win anything with the culture, with the way the players they look at each other, with the way they talk about each other, the infighting. We can't win. I have not seen any team that can win having those kind of problem in their midst. So like we just have to go back to the dressing room of creating a team, thinking about everybody as one, as a unit, not as parts and groups and strikers and defender and whatever. But I think actually we need to let the guy go because conceding 57 goals is catastrophic. We need to let him go. Like he needs to control the defense. Like he needs to tell them like, yo, you have to protect me, you have to do this, but he doesn't speak. So I have other issues with the hair, but like 57 goals is too much. Like, and actually we can sell him this season because kind of everyone knows that hey, he's been hyped by the fan base, by other fan base, by the media. So we could sell him this season if we let him stay, and he gets find out next season, and Ten Hag starts saying that I need a good new goalkeeper. It's going to be very difficult to let him go next season. So we have to let him go.
Yeah, you're bang on with that. Man United fans have got to remain relaxed about this situation, and I say that because we are not going to clear out all the players that even Ten Hag wants gone this year. Because if we got rid of De Gea and Henderson, say we got rid of both, we have to sign a goalkeeper, we have to sign a right back, we have to sign a centre back, we've got to sign at least two midfielders, we need another striker, and we're probably going to need another inside forward as well because Martial is going to go, and of course Greenwood's not coming back. So we ain't signing 7 or 8 new players of ample quality. So that area is going to be a little bit slower. There's no doubt. I think we're going to have to dip into the academy a little bit this year as well. That's where the patience needs to come in because, and I already see it yesterday, Ten Hag praises Maguire in the press conference, and it was a professional answer. I'm already seeing the Mike love United, hate Glazers. This guy, people literally, he's already another puppet. He isn't speaking the truth. It's like, see, people are going to switch so quickly, and this is where proper Man United fans that understand the problems at the club need to say what you're saying. And that's why this guy, I put this comment up. It says, Terry asks about a name. Him, I don't need names. I agree with you. I agree with your logic. It's almost, I understand why some fans are, I don't really care who we sign as long as they want to work for the club and work for the manager. That's probably more important, and I agree. Lord Nelson, thanks for coming back on, mate, and having your say. Long time no speak. Top man.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, brother. And Nelson's right. Look, I want quality players. I want the best players. But I'd take a 7 out of 10 player who 100% wants to work hard over a 10 out of 10 player who doesn't want to fight. Who if a young player emerges and challenges them for their position, they become toxic. Because that type of person, that type of player is a much, much bigger issue. There's a comment here I want to focus on. It says, we conceded more goals than Burnley. Yeah, and we've got much better players than Burnley. That's why structure is key. And Ty says the defense has a massive part in these goals, and they do. But the lack of shape in midfield, the incoherent, inconsistent press creates holes. It's a team. The thing is, it's a team sport. And that's why when I read, the team was bad because of Maguire or just because Bruno loses the ball too often, they're not. They're both reasons, but it's bigger than that. And fans have got to look beyond the end of their nose for these answers, no doubt. Ads is coming on the show. We've been able to have his say. Once I see him unmute, then I know that he's listening. Because sometimes people are backstage, you don't always know. He's ready to go. How you doing, my friend?
I'm great, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm very, very well. I'm very, very well. Yeah, I'd love your take on what's being spoken about with Pau Torres and Timber and everybody's opinions on who should and shouldn't come in.
To be honest, I don't really know too much about him, but I've heard that Torres is a he's a proper sportsman, man, and he takes the sport seriously, man. And that's the type of players I want in my club. And yeah, man, I mean, if we can get either one, am I fast? No, not really. I just want players who are dedicated, they work hard, and they keep their nose clean. And if you do that, you're fit to wear the shirt. And at the moment, we do not have players who are like that, or at least put in an act on as if they're not like that. You know what I'm trying to say? And look, I know it's the end of the season. Last game was fucking horrific. I'm glad the season's over, and I just want to start again. Like Nelson said, it was like a bunch of players, but it wasn't a team. You know what I'm saying? Like they always have the movies about sports where no one really works with each other. Now, at the end of the film, after 90 minutes, they get together and unify, and that's what I want to see. And I think this is actually what's going to happen now. Now Ten Hag is here.
Mate, I hope so. I hope they can turn it around, and I'm all about forgiveness. And with certain players that have really offended me this year, and there have been players that have legitimately offended me with their lack of effort. Bruno Fernandes, head's gone. Rashford, head's gone. You can just see it in their kind of attitude, in their sort of nonchalant behavior on the field of play, amongst others. I'm just singling those two out. But if these guys come together and work hard, they're in and around top 4 level. And how do we know that? Because under Ollie, who's nowhere near the level of coach of Ten Hag, they got top 4 2 years running. But now to maintain that, we need to improve the quality of the squad. And I just think it's the hard work and the togetherness comes first, and everything after. I think Ten Hag said it himself. He wants to play fantastic football. He wants his teams to work hard. But the working hard element, he goes, but if we can't play fantastic football, you have to work hard still. And I've been talking about this for 9 years on social media. Without that base of hard work and running through brick walls, nothing else will happen. And that's what I want to see on day one. We saw it for 27 minutes under Ralph Rangnick. And we all got excited after that Palace game because we saw them do it. And after that, they stopped trying. So when I hear, Ralph's tactics were bad, no, Ralph wanted you to work hard and you didn't want to do it because you can't be bothered. And that's what needs to stop.
Yeah, absolutely. And for me personally, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this, but I'll say it time and time again. Of course, earlier you mentioned about 7 out of 10 players who just work hard, have some quality, can still do something and bring something to the team, but they work hard. I honestly think we have several great examples of that in this team. I honestly think there are certain players, at least 2 to 4, who they get rid Pau. Like everyone has that one player in their list, and we all know who I'm talking about. Them 4 players, and yeah, but there are players like Lindelof, there are players like Fred who work hard. Yes, they have some quality. Yes, they have some flaws, but they give it their all. Like a couple of months ago, and he went viral. I think Fred's name was trending when he said this. He knows he's not the best player. I think he even came out and said he knows he's not the best player, but he lives and breathes sport and he cares about the club. And he came out with a statement yesterday, I think, passively aggressively saying, players in this team need to get their shit together. And then that's when we start moving forward. And that's why I commend Fred, man. Yes, he's not the best player, and he said it himself. But when you have people like him in your team, utilize it and you see results.
Yeah, mate, listen, I agree with a lot of what you said, my friend. I'm a bit like you. We'll see what happens over the summer, and I'm sure we'll chat again soon. Ads, thanks for all the support on the channel as well. You're absolute legend. Top man.
Take care.
Thank you. Pav still to come on the show, but first, a Liverpool fan coming to have his say. Sarim is here, one of our members. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, bro, you good?
Yeah, I'm very, very well. What's your take on all of this?
I think they'd probably be good signings, both of them. They're low risk, relatively, come cheap, and even if they don't work out for you, you can sell them on and try to find another one. I think in the terms of United going forward, I do think they need to sign these kind of players, just very good quality squad players, and then once Ten Hag has found his feet and has bedded in, then he can start going for the bigger boys to get used to the next level and eventually compete for the title.
Listen, I agree with what you've said. I think it's there. This is why when people are so weird and polarized and binary nowadays. It's almost like if they don't want Man United to become successful again, it's like no way it can happen. And then others that want it seem to act like it's the most difficult thing in the world to get us back on track. It's basic discipline that's needed.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And if discipline's instilled, Ten Hag can be successful. Without it, he will fail, and that's where my kind of focus is. And look, the players we're linked with are talented. We know they're talented. It's more about the attitude at the club and maintaining that, and rejuvenating a number of players that are in this squad. You know, we need to get Raphael Varane performing at his peak level. We need, even for a few years, if Luke Shaw could have a season or two at the level that he performed at last year, we're okay. We're okay. We don't need to go and drop £80 million on a new left back if Ten Hag can get him performing to that level. And that's what it's all about. And we have been asking for a coach like this for a long time. Someone that's modern, someone that's contemporary, and who's still probably yet to find their peak. You know, LVG and Jose were probably past their best. Well, they neither have done anything since of any real note. And like Ollie was never the guy. So we haven't had a manager like this yet. I just want the club to fully get behind it. If they do, we could grow. We could grow.
I'm interested in how Ten Hag works out because for me personally, like players that come from the Dutch leagues and managers as well, the Dutch league isn't that good compared to your top 5 leagues. And Ten Hag going from Ajax to a top 5 league is going to be a big step. But going from Ajax to United is even 10 times bigger. So I'm kind of interested to see how it works out for him. Hopefully it doesn't work out for him. I hope he fails just like the rest. But he has got the quality there. So let's see what happens. I think, honestly speaking as well, if you guys are serious and you guys sort everything out, it shouldn't take you too long to get back to the top. It never does. Like even like watching Liverpool, it took us the third season we actually competed for the title under Jurgen Klopp, and that's ridiculous. Like to see that we've not even won the league for 30 years. And you're telling me that we were able to compete for a title in 3. So it is doable.
Brother, I had this conversation just the other day, and people are sitting there and saying to me, I said at the start of his going into his sort of third year, that's when I want to challenge, not necessarily win, but be there or thereabouts. That's mental. And then you look at how long it took Klopp, and
3 seasons.
Yeah, and you were there or thereabouts, and that's my point. And we should instantly see if the players are working hard and he's good enough. We should see a style of play and an improvement in our squad almost simultaneously. We played some of the worst football in the league this year, but still finished 6th because of the quality of the player. Yeah. And I saw teams like Brighton, teams like Wolves, teams like Leicester, teams all these guys, they play better football than us, but yet we're ahead of them in the league because we've got better players. Bring a better style with these quality of players and we improve. But the attitude needs to be right. You're absolutely spot on, my friend. Sarim, top man. Thank you for calling in and having your say. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Another member on the show next. Pav is here. We always try and prioritize our members coming on speaking and our super chatters because, of course, they keep the terrace going. What I want from you guys this morning, though, is to give us a hit. Smash that like button for us. Let's talk a Viking football show. It's very weird. He keeps talking about my banking career. He's clearly gone to my LinkedIn page. Yes, I used to work within I didn't work within remediation. So what I did for a while is I used to work on remediation projects. So yeah, I can tell you more about it if you want. You can put another comment in saying, Terry, what are you, an actor, a banker, or a bruv? Well, I'm a bruv because I'm a Cockney and we call each other bruv. I was never an actor. I worked as a stuntman on a few films when I was younger. I didn't enjoy the industry. And I did work in banking, yes. Well done for looking at my LinkedIn page, you clever sausage. Well done, you. Terry, what time is Ben Jacobs on later? That'll be 4 p.m. live done deal show. Ben Jacobs on the Football Terrace. The Dean Machine is back soon as well. Plus, going to be moving some of the stuff into the studio later on in the summer for you. So we've got a big transfer window planned on the terrace. Why are you setting expectations so low, Terry? I'm not. My expectations as a Man United fan are probably higher than most United fans. However, it's going to take time to get there. Step change each year. But I expect to see this team within 3 seasons being able to challenge for the Premier League title. Expect it. Within 3. If we do it sooner, great. It's going to take about that amount of time, in my opinion, to be able to catch. If, though, it could be quicker if City and Liverpool regress. So if City and Liverpool become 10 points a season worse over the next couple of years, we might be able to compete quicker. What are we behind the top this year? I don't even remember what it was. So that's an average of points. Points don't always indicate. So what we finish on 58, they're at 90. Jesus Christ. So there's 30 odd points. If we get better by 10 and they get worse by 10. The gap closes significantly by 20 points within a year. But for us to get to their level, like the low mid 90 points, I think that's going to consistently, I think that's going to take a couple of seasons. But what you see instantly is improved football, more wins, less defeats, less goals being conceded, progressing further in the cup competitions, qualifying for the Champions League. And each year you get better and better. Standards are higher, my friend. I'm just realistic in the sense that you can't do that overnight. It would be a ridiculous notion. Next on the show, Pav is here with me. What you saying, my friend?
I'm good, man. I want to quickly start off with that clown you was talking about, Mike. Guy's had a press conference, his first press conference, and you're expecting the man to out players before he's even spoke to the players himself. Like, what sort of idiot comes up with like some of the opinions like him? That guy is a parasite on Twitter. I'm not even joking. I used to follow him. Don't get me wrong, he used to have some good takes, but that guy is a parasite. And I don't usually tell people what to do, but if you do follow the guy, unfollow him, because that guy is a cancer to like the Man United fan base.
Let me just say on him as well. What he does is very clever. He everything he tweets about Man United is negative, but he does it from the angle of, I'm doing it to make the club better. But what you realize, I used to follow him just to see what he was writing. Whatever the manager does, whatever the players do, he looks at it from a negative standpoint. So if the manager came out and outed players yesterday, he would say it's disgraceful, he's unprofessional, and he's gonna make the dressing room toxic straight away. What an idiot! Therefore, I'm not backing him. And how I know this is those guys did it under Jose. When Jose was outing the players and being unprofessional about the club, they were like, this is a disgrace. Then when a manager kind of toes the party line and stays professional, they moan about it. People like that, Mike, certain content creators, certain people that pose as Man United fans, whatever the club does, they have an issue. I've tried to get a few of them on the show before so I could ask them what they want to see ahead of time so we could hold them by their own accounts, and they never want to do it. They never want to make a statement, because if they say ahead of time what they want to hear, they can be undone because the manager might deliver against that and then they can't moan. Yeah, the geezer is, I'm not, this isn't fan policing. The guy is not a Man United fan. He is clearly a rival posing as one, winding up Man United fans. And it is, I find it funny, but I find it hilarious that some Man United fans think he's right. It's like, brother, it's a City or a Liverpool fan. Anyway, we digress. Pau Torres, Timber, one of them, both of them. Where's your head at with these stories?
Timber, just like, I don't mind Pau Torres, but I've got a few question marks about him, because he's 25 and he's plays for Villarreal for a fair amount of time now. But the thing with Villarreal is they're always kind of on the back foot when they're playing pretty much any team. And a player who's at that age, I want a centre back who comes in who's a bit more commanding. Like, at 25, can Erik Ten Hag make him into a commanding centre back? Like, I want our defenders to be on the front foot. I want them to be aggressive. I don't want them just sitting back like we've been doing for the past 2-3 seasons. And with Timber, he could obviously play right back, can play centre back, and he's like quite versatile. Like, I've watched, I've not really watched many Ajax games, only in the Champions League. I've had to watch a bit more of him on YouTube, but he does push up. He does like try to win the ball a lot. He's got some blistering pace as well. Like I said, he's only 20. But I think if we do, we should get both of them, because Lindelof's been here for quite a long time. He needs to go. I think when Maguire's contract comes to an end, I don't think the club will renew it, but I don't think they'll sell him as much as most of us want him to be gone. I don't think the club will sell him. They'll just let him go once his contract's done. Varane, there's obviously he is a world-class defender, but it's them injury problems that keep appearing. But that's not the first case with a lot of our players. Every player that comes here seems to get injured a lot, and I think another thing that needs to change in this club is that whole recovery medic team. They all need to go. They all need to be replaced, because there's something wrong. And Ralph's obviously said that openly to like press conferences, interviews. But I wouldn't mind both of them. But I've said before, we need more than just two centre backs. We need 4 probably full-backs. We need another winger. We need a striker. It'll just depends if this club's going to do it all in one season. I don't think they will. But Obviously, I was watching Ten Hag's interview yesterday, and he did say something about this club finished second, so I need to try and get the quality out of these players again. But I said to you before, I don't trust a lot of them, and I think it's going to be hard for a lot of Man United, like these players, to win Man United fans' trust back. But yeah, I wouldn't mind both of them, Timber and Pau Torres.
Yeah.
We need fresh faces.
Of course we do. Of course we do. And someone here says false second. And I understand. Listen, but this team did make the top 4 2 years running. They are good enough to.
But with that though, right? We finished second and fourth without fans. That's what a lot of people say. And as soon as like the crowds come back, we capitulated. We lost our away winning streak.
Yeah, but
I don't know if there's a link there, but
there isn't a link there because Liverpool with no fans were worse than when they had fans, but yet Man United were better. It's what I found happened when there was no fans is certain teams that did well, it was because there's no pressure, there's no fans. Teams that didn't do so well, it was because we need fans to make us better. There's no real there's no like correlation between it. We were that season the second best team in the Premier League, but overall it was still probably the fourth best team. We just punched slightly above our weight that year. As an example, the previous year I think we finished third, in and around that level. We have been the third stroke fourth best team. I was going to mute your mic, there's a bit of noise in the background. Over the past couple of years, this squad has been good enough. This year they down tools. There was a comment that came through that says we have to blame the players. Terry, we have blamed the players all season and even scapegoat some, but we can't let the manager off with inept coaching, poor in-game management, and bad decisions. Ralph needs calling out too. And I only agree to a small amount. Of course, you can look at him. The difference is you don't need to be a FIFA qualified coach to see the players weren't trying. And at no point do I accept just because a player doesn't like the tactics, just because a player doesn't like the way a manager is, that they have the right to not work hard. That's where fans, for me, have to be honest here. If the players worked hard from when Ralph was employed till now, we could be in the Champions League next year, which gives us more money, which would support the sort of the quote unquote rebuild. I'm happy to look at Ralph as an issue, but these players have down tools, 4 managers running. The squad's done it to 4 different managers. And then an interim, so 5, if you want to be honest. In the end, they've done it. In the end, they've folded. That's a bigger issue than criticizing the manager, because until the players don't feel that they have the power to be able to play when they want to, it doesn't matter how good or bad the manager is, he's going to fail. So the manager's issues are a small problem, and it's every manager that comes in, they're not happy with the training, the way he speaks to them, the way he does this, the way he does that. And you may see the same thing with Ten Hag. And we're going to end up switching on the manager again. And that's what I'm more worried about, the Godfather. I hear your point. I do hear your point. But we have to look at the biggest problem at the club. And it's the culture, which is set by the board, my friend. It's really important. Pav, absolute legend speaking as always. Thank you for all your support on the channel. Man. And we'll speak soon. Top man. Thank you. Cedric here says, next season, the players will have coaches who can coach and are respected. Well, this is the point. The coaches that are coming in now, I just don't see where they're able to criticize. They've got more credibility. I hope it works, but we'll see. People always find a way. They always try and find a way. Blaming Ralph is moronic, is what Tad has got. Look, Ralph definitely made mistakes, but let's wait and see what happens. I get the feeling Ralph was picking particular players because they worked hard, and in training other people were not. And it's like, I feel like he wanted to drop Bruno, but there weren't very many other options. You had, I don't think Lingard was behaving right behind the scenes, family tweeting things. Like, well, I'm not going to reward that with a starting position. That's just how it feels. Everyone can look at it differently, though. Everyone's going to have their own thoughts and their own feelings on that. The only real says Terry, the squad isn't good enough, though. When you say isn't good enough, for what? What isn't it good enough for? We have a bunch of overrated, overhyped players. Pogba, Varane, Sancho, Shaw, all overrated. Bruno, Ronaldo, great but flawed. This squad is just crap. For what, though? Winning the league, yes. Making top 4, they've done it before. And even if you look at this season, in the last sort of 15 games, so many of them games, up until being knocked out by Ati, we were the better team and we just didn't win. You know, we should still be in and around the race. So you improve the attitude, you improve the work rate, you improve 5 or 6. By the way, we're going to sign 4 or 5, maybe 6 players. We're going to promote 2 or 3 from the academy. The squad will be better at the start of next season with better coaching. And if the attitude's right, it's good enough to make the top 4. It needs to improve over the next 2 to 3 years to challenge for the title, granted. But I'd love to know what you mean by the squad isn't good enough. Like, what for what is my big question. For what is what I would like to know. That's not a challenge. That's I just want to understand you a little bit better there, my friend. Thoughts on Steve McLaren, Terry? Listen, not being a great manager doesn't mean that you're not a brilliant coach. If you read and research people's views on him as a coach, very good. Being a manager and being the key decision maker is very different. In my experience, I've worked with people that are brilliant assistants, brilliant kind of people on the side, struggled when they become the key decision maker and all the pressure's been upon them. There's a difference between being a coach and being a manager. A huge difference in those 2 jobs. Steve McLaren as a manager had a varied career. Did win the Eredivisie with FC20, by the way, but varied. As a coach, always been highly regarded. Always been highly regarded. And I think for me, he fits that category of sort of like, there's some people on socials that look at him and think it's a bit Brexity because of his age, his complexion, his passport. And that really troubles me that society does this. If you trust Erik ten Hag, trust in the fact that he wants Steve McLaren. He fought for them. This isn't, I saw people going, it's jobs for boys again. Well, it isn't, because it isn't the club and Fletcher and Myrtle that have given him the role. Erik ten Hag fought for him. The club said no originally, and he had to fight for it. So it's the complete opposite. But the thing is, people don't read. They don't read the stories. They read what some random guy with 32 followers says as an opinion about it on Twitter. I read the opinions, but then I go and read the stories. And then I work out whether the opinions match the story or the information. And often they don't. And what you realize is someone's read the headline, Steve McLaren appointed. It must have been Darren Fletcher that gave it to him because they're both a bit ginger. It's literally what people do. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. It really, really is. It really, really is. Listen, everyone who's tuning in, thank you. We've got more content coming out this morning in relation to Maguire. Ben Jacobs on the terrace later on this afternoon, plus a little bit. With so much to speak about. Yuri Tillemans. We're talking Gabriel Jesus. What else are we talking about? We're talking about Neymar to Chelsea. The takeover at Chelsea and much, much more. So tune in live at 4 p.m. Get it ready. Make sure you're refreshing the Football Terrace page. You'll see the thumbnails up before that, but make sure you're ready for it. I want to see you all back here. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll